So, as I was saying, after we've added the doses at various points at which the two beams intersect, then we begin to see a pattern. So, for example, over here in this section, we see a lot of high dose areas. 140, 140, 140, 140, 140. So the question is, do those 140% dose points connect to each other? It looks like they should connect in this fashion. So in order, though, to come to that conclusion, we have to find out if there are spaces between the dots that would reasonably add up to 140%. So I had one intersecting point here, and another intersecting point here, and another intersecting point here that equaled 140. Would those 3 points connect together? They would if every point between those points could equal 140. So here, because there's not an 85% isodose line here, does not mean it does not exist. It does. There would be about 85% coming from the lateral beam and about 55% coming from the AP beam. 85 and 55 are 140. Over here, there would be about 75% coming from the lateral beam and about 65% coming from the AP beam. 75 and 65 are 140. So we could safely assume that these points would connect this way. Now, does this point connect to that 140? Well, that would mean that there would have to be values between here and there that are also equivalent to 140. So we could look and see if we could have 70 something plus from the AP beam and 70 something plus from the right lateral beam equal 140. More than likely not. It would have to be 70 something and 60 something. So those other 140s are probably along here somewhere. So this probably connects this way. And we do the same with this side. So right now, preliminarily, the 140% isodose line probably goes this way. And I could do the same thing with 150, although I've only found one section of 150. I would do the same with the 130 percentage dose points. Here's 130, 130, 130, 130. Perhaps they connect this way. I'm going to leave that to you to come to that conclusion. And then to see if there's any place over here that's 130. There's a 140. Perhaps there's a 130 in there. Maybe they connect in the same fashion. And you can do one dose line at a time. I would suggest you only go by values of tens. So 140, 130, 120, 100, 110, 90, 80. I have some values out here that are in values of fives, like 45 and 35. But I'll leave that up to you how you want to connect it. Just one more step though, to make this a little less confusing. Once you start connecting dose points, it might be a good idea to trace another contour like I've done with this one, and just begin to trace out, then just begin to place one solid line that would represent each dose value. So for example, the 140 that we were working with, here are those points. So I could connect those points and put them into this contour. Now without the underpage, this is what the 140% isodose line would look if I were to do two beams, one with AP, one with lateral, intersecting here. Again, don't forget to line up your isocenters each time if you're going to do multiple layers. Here's my 150% isodose line. So as I continue and find out where the 130% isodose points connect, once I determine that, then I can use my overlay again. Remember to line up your isodose, line up your central axes and your contour, and then I could sketch out where the 130% isodose lines would come. I already know that they're going to come somewhere like this because of the beam arrangement that I've chosen. An AP and a right lateral separated by 90 degrees will give you isodose distribution, it would look something like this. Now I would like for you to complete this out until the lowest cumulative isodose are represented on this page. So I want to see all of the dose points here, all of the dose points across the tissue. So that means you're going to have to work with the lower dose point areas as well. There's 45, for example. There's 20, there's 15. Do the 15s connect? Is there another 20 across this way that maybe connects? There's 35 between 30 and 40. 35 between 30 and 40 here. Do these connect? If they do, I want you to demonstrate those on your final page. So your final page should look like a completed isodose plan. With that 35% would have been somewhere like this. If you recall what it just looked like when we were doing it, that 35% isodose line would be somewhere like that. Let's overlay it and take a look. Match up our central axes. Right now I'm going to see if I can connect the 35% isodose lines. There's a 35 right there. This is 35, and this 35 does not cross over into any of the dose lines from the red. So this 35 goes this way. There's another 35 there. Here's 35 out here. And there's 35 here. And this 35 likely connects here until we get to some point in there. Okay, so here's 35%. And of course, between 35% and 130%, there are many dose lines, and you're going to find out what those are depending on the beam arrangement. Hope this is helpful.